Alright, which way are we going to go? The guys are going to move. So just hold on 1 second because this is going to be... I'm already so excited I can't even talk. So there's a car in front of us that's just deciding. They're deciding what they want to do. So as soon as they move, then we're going to be in. And again, if you've got any song from The Lion King, this is the time to play it and just hear it in the background. It's that good. Luckily for me, Lou's singing it in my ear. I'm getting goosebumps. I want to start crying. Well done, Senzo. Now let's get to the lions and you can do that again. Woohoo. What a sight, guys. What a sight. Alright, Senzo, this is your time to shine and to sing. Do you need me to go forward? Alright. Hang on. Positioning of the car with the roof, not the easiest one. More? Alright. Sorry, guys. Like I said, definitely worth it. Waiting for all of this. Senzo, if you want to start singing, this is your cue. This is so special to see all of them on top of a termite mound. I don't think I've seen lions on top of a termite mound in a very long time. What a stunning view. What a stunning view. I'm just so thrilled this is. And they're all looking quite sleepy and who knows, maybe they're tired of having their paws wet. That looks like the face of a very unimpressed kitty. Are you tired of being wet? Oh, that is... wow. Yeah, you might be jealous of the roofs, as Lou says. I'm sure it's probably the case. I think they've actually just gotten tired of getting wet and walking through all the grass because they've chosen one very bare spot. And they're all... I can count 4 heads from here. Aren't you guys pretty? Look at you, all sleeping tucked in on top of that termite mound. It is wonderful. Oh, so sweet. I think this has got to be one of my favorite views of them. Wigwam Sam, you're wondering if we have no fear of the big cats pouncing on the car. Well, in this particular area, no. The lions that we see here, they've all been seeing cars since they were cubs, and they're all used to us coming around and moving around. So moving and approaching them and just making noises and smelling the way that we do. So you see, actually, when we got here, they might have just been like, oh, what's going on? And then they've carried on sleeping. So they're absolutely not bothered by us. They're not being sneaky or trying to get to us. They just really don't care. Look at that face. That face says, I'm not really bothered. I want your roof. I don't want to be wet anymore. But even if they were to come down of the termite mound, often they would walk around us and just walk straight past the car and be fine. I have had experiences though with it was male lions. It was the Nwatsitsaka males that came from Kruger when I used to work further south in this reserve. Look at all their little wet hairs. That they hadn't seen as many vehicles and they hadn't seen people or trackers in the front of the vehicle. So those particular lions were a bit grumpy around cars. So we had to give them quite a fair amount of space. And whenever we approached them, then the trackers would come back into the seat. And then eventually, as the months carried on, they became a little bit more relaxed. But then they went back into Kruger and we didn't see them again. But those males were massive male lions. But that's the only cases, and they will still see a lot of car and tourist cars around Kruger, so they already had a notion, a perception of what the cars are and how to deal with them. But I mean, I just want to go and cuddle with all of them in that pile of lions, which probably would get me eaten, but one can dream. Stanley times 3, you're wondering if it's warmer on top of the mound. Well, it could be, but I don't think it would be significantly warmer. We know that hot air rises and cold air stays below, but I doubt that that is high enough to warrant much of a temperature difference. I think they're just up there because it's a drier spot. It's not as wet on top of the termite mound as it is all around us. And the good thing is, big enough termite mound just to make sure that everyone's fits in there. Oh, what a pretty view of this lions. You're so pretty. And they're all so sleepy, all of them. Wow. I see another head tilting up. Look at all the rain. So you can appreciate now just how much water we've had and how the elements are always something to bear in mind for all the wildlife. Not only do they have to hunt their own food and go after them, but also they've got to be out here in the rain and just pretty much endure it. Today hasn't been that bad because it hasn't been pouring down, but I think that little grumpy face that we were talking about cats having when they get rained upon, it's almost like, oh, why me? It's a tragedy being wet, isn't it? Such a pretty lion face. I think this is warming my heart up. Look at all those ears. Beautiful. Stacy, you're wondering if it's just the cubs and no adults around. Well, I was actually wondering the same thing myself because I don't know if there are some more on the other side of the mound. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a chance as I keep some of them at least tilting their head up. And we're going to go see. If it's just the cubs, it could mean that the mothers have gone around hunting and they've left them behind while they've moved off. Like I said, I can only count 4 heads. I don't know if maybe some more of them are in the vicinity or if some more are just on the other side of the mound. I think it's a bit of a mystery that we'll have to solve in the next few minutes. But for now, I think we can enjoy this view of all of them. Proud cat mama, you're wondering how old these lions are. Well, not 100% sure, but they are probably heading on to just over a year. Now, everybody out there that's got a proper age of them can help me out using the hashtag #SafariLive and just let us know exactly how old they are. I'm going to say probably about a year and a half. As I was here in May when I first saw them and they were already about 8 months old. So I'm going to guess somewhere around there. And there are 3 tiny new additions onto this pride. However, those ones are still very small and being kept in very close vicinity to its mother, just because they are so small. So they are about a third, if even, of the size of this ones that we're looking at right now. I think maybe let's try going around. Darlene, you're saying that Senza and I have gotten very lucky and that you're happy we got to see the lions. Us too, very much so, especially on top of a termite mound, which is not something that you get to see every day. I'm going to go around and see if maybe there are some more lions on this side. Not too sure how I'm going to get there. But we are also very happy that we're able to share the sighting with everyone. I think maybe the roof upsets them a little bit. No more lions here. No, it's just the 4 youngsters here on top of this termite mound. I can't see any more lions anywhere else. Just these guys over here who are now looking at us with a very unimpressed face. Because I'm sure they didn't want us to wake them up, but they've carried on sleeping, which is always what we want. We want them to carry on doing their own thing. Now, I wonder where the females have gone off to, because the tracks clearly led here, or led us here, and that's why Aubrey found them. Rex did mention that there were tracks for 2 males heading heading west and crossing out of Djuma. So I wonder if maybe some of them have actually gone all the way to pass the boundary and they're just looking for food, or if they're somewhere around here. It wouldn't be uncommon for female lions or lionesses just to leave their cubs behind while they go off hunting. So pretty. Going back to sleep. It's tough being a lion. Such pretty things. Now, definitely only 4 heads around here that I can count. And they're all pretty much in the same comatose state. They are enjoying the fact that it's nice and rainy so that they can have morning cuddles. That's pretty much what they're doing. Now, if they were humans, likely they would be asking for some coffee. Oh, look at the beautiful stretch. Seems very appropriate that everybody's getting coffee. Luckily, I also have my very big cup to keep me warm today, seeing I have no lion friends, sisters or brothers to keep me warm like they all are. What a great spot you guys have chosen. I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful. Seems like they are a bit, it's not a deep sleep like some of the lions do. They keep putting their heads up and so on. So I'm sure they're also just keeping an eye out, waiting for the mothers to come back. But I'm impressed at how much these lions have grown in the last few weeks. Like I haven't seen them for about 2 months. I think that would be the right amount of time, unless I'm forgetting a time in between. But it's just amazing to see, again, how much they've grown in such little time. I almost feel like they've doubled in size since the last time that I saw them. Which is great news for them. Means that whatever it is that it's happening, they've been growing up very good. Rashni, thank you so much for helping us with the exact date of the, well, not exact, but an approximate age of the cubs. You say that they are between, or they range between 1.5 years and 14 months. Good. So I wasn't too far off in my calculations. And they look about the right size for that, although I've always been impressed by the Nkuhuma lions and their cubs because they always look bigger and healthier than some of the lions we get in the Sabi sands. And it is really a stunning pride of lions. They always, I don't know, there's something about them that just says they're doing well. They're healthy, especially if compared to some of the other lions that we get in the area where they're sometimes not looking as wonderful as this one's. I'm very happy for you guys. Keeping well all the way up there. Now, very likely they're going to carry on sleeping here for the next few hours, but I doubt they'll be that they'll be on top of this Termite mound for this afternoon's game drive. It'll be interesting to see, but I have a feeling the females might come and collect them and then they're going to carry on moving. Because weather like this is great in the sense that you manage to perhaps have a glimpse of more animals being active, but also it just, a lot of the times mean that wherever it is that you leave them, they might not be there in the afternoon, just because the weather conditions are enough for them to get up and then start moving. And we are not too far from our boundary, so if they carried on walking west, then they could cross the boundary and then keep on moving. But luckily for once, as we all say, they have stopped in the Djuma gym. They didn't carry on moving past this track, and we got lucky with the view of them, because I know Tristan had to work very hard yesterday to try and find that male lion. As he left him, he couldn't figure out what was in between the bushes, but he thinks that this Birmingham boy was actually meeting up with the rest of the pride, because the pride didn't, because the weather was somewhat similar to what it is today, the pride hadn't stayed where they left them in the morning and had moved off, and then they couldn't find them again. So I wonder if perhaps the Birmingham boy didn't actually meet up with them and then they've carried on moving. Because we do know that at least 2 of the Birmingham boys are together again. I think that one's my favorite for now. Seems to be sleeping in the most regal way. And the size of their paws, very big as well. When we see someone, we say that he's got big paws. I think it's the same with the cubs, with the Nkuhuma Cubs. They've got very big paws, so I'm sure they still have a lot to grow, or at least into their paws and their ears. They still look a little bit funny, as if things are not really quite supposed to be that way. And good news on the other side is that it seems like it's finally stopped raining. So I'm sure the lions are going to be very happy, and we are going to be very happy not to get wet for the next little while. John, you're wondering what my favorite thing about lions is. Well, I think my favorite thing about lions is their social dynamics and their family structure. Now, it's very unique, and it's the only sociable cat, and I think lions can be quite radical in the way that they approach each other. So by these, I mean, a lot of the times when you'll see them together, they will fight each other for food, and it becomes a fierce fight if they're eating a buffalo, and like, this is my piece, and they growl at each other and they hurt each other. But at the same time, they are so fiercely loyal to each other. If anything else comes around that might try to attack them, particularly a pride of females and their young ones, I've seen some lionesses do some incredible things just for the sake of the pride, and just to try and protect their pride from and just give the rest of the pride a chance while they perhaps take the brunt of it. And it's one of those things, as they say, if they can have their fights in between them, but if anything else from the outside dares to even come close to them, then they'll have to face the rage of all the lions united together. And I think that is my favorite thing, just seeing how this dynamics change and how they move and where they go and how they face all of the other potential lions or males coming into the area. I just find it fascinating. To me, it's like watching the best soap opera possible. It's just, you never know what's going to happen. And with lions, you might have a certain set of conditions and you get used to it, and you're like, this is the way things are going to happen. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything changes. And then new lions come in, or this one, they move somewhere else, or then, they start mating with these random males, and they start doing things that you would never expect them to do. So I think that's my favorite thing about them, just to be able to observe them over a period of time and see what actually they get up to. That to me is priceless with lions. I remember on one occasion there is one particular lioness that I truly enjoyed when I was working at Lions Ends, and she's known as Floppy Ear because she's got a broken ear. And I remember that the pride had been going through a takeover from new males coming around into the area, because they used to associate with one particular male. We used to call them the Kruger male, and then the new Hilda's Rock Pride males came around into the area, and it was just a lot of stress for the females, because clearly all of the cubs got killed now because there is this territorial fight in between the two males. So the new coming males got hold of the cubs, and that was it. So the females started mating with both males, or both groups of males, just to try and confuse them all pretty much. So I remember seeing this particular female one time. The males were on opposite sides of the reserve, and this Floppy Ear, she went and she started mating with this one male that was on his own. He was quite an older male, and I think that they were just tired and they wanted to get this over and done with, as in like, if you stay, you stay. If you get killed, you get killed, but we don't want to carry on living in between, because now this had been going on for months. So she went and started mating, and every time he would approach her, she would run a little bit, and then he would follow her after. And then he would get a little bit closer, and then she would carry on. And then eventually she dragged him across the reserve, because her whole point was to drag him all the way back onto those male lions, because she went in a straight line all the way to where those three males were waiting for him. I don't think they knew that she was bringing him, but I think she was trying to provoke a fight to just get an outcome. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That I was just like. And then also, I've seen lionesses when I think it might have even been her. She's a very clever cat. New young males came into the areas, but they weren't really going to stay, and they were busy feeding off a buffalo. They've managed to kill a buffalo, so the females came around, but the males were very protective of their kill. Now these were young males. They were about maybe 2.5 maybe 3 years old, and they wouldn't let the females mate with them. So this particular lioness also, she started pretending that she was in estrus, and she started presenting herself to them, and eventually she started dragging them away from the kill, giving the rest of the lionesses a chance to go and feed on that particular buffalo. So it was quite an interesting thing to watch. But then of course the young males realized what was going on, and they went back to their kill and chased everyone off. So you see, it's things like this that allow you a glimpse of how actually their brain works and how clever they are and how they solve problems in between their own environment. I think that just keeps dragging me back to lions. I find them fascinating, the way they behave. Now, what you looking at in that direction? Probably nothing. Very beautiful. What a stunning way to start our very windy morning, and happy to know that I didn't break Tristan's cat streak. I don't think he could have forgiven me for that. Cute chemistry. You're wondering what I think these lions are thinking about. Well, I think a few of them are not thinking, in the sense that they're probably just asleep, and they've gone off. Maybe they're dreaming of warmer places and a big chunk of buffalo. But just by their attitude and what they were looking at yesterday, I think they're almost waiting for the females to come back, or they've gone all the way up here keeping an eye out because they want to know what's going on and where their parents have gone and where they're going to go next. So it's almost like there's a bit of apprehension. Nothing to be concerned about, but you know, when you're waiting for someone and waiting for someone to come and knock at the door, you're almost edgy, but not in a bad way. You're kind of just expectant of something to happen, and I think maybe that's what they're thinking about. They'll raise their hands like, is it them? No, okay, you can carry on sleeping, and then they wake up like, but what if they get here? And then they carry on looking in that direction. Rex had stopped a little bit further down the road, so we're gonna go exploring there in a little while, see if maybe the rest of the lions are actually there, if the females are there, and if it's just the cubs that are all the way up here. Lions and termite mounds, and yesterday we had Tamba on a termite mound. What a time, as Megan would say, what a time. Actually, you're wondering how the lionesses communicate to the cubs that they must stay behind. Well, that is one of science's biggest mysteries. Now, sometimes they'll give a low contact call, and then obviously the cubs will understand that they can't go any further. But most of the times there appears to be no communication whatsoever, no vocal communication whatsoever. So a lot of the times we think it's just by instinct, that they already know from the body posture of the mothers and their behavior, as in like, okay, this is as far as we go. Because as far as I know, science hasn't managed to find out exactly what it is that happens, that the cubs know that this is as far as they go. I would put it a lot into instinct, that they know, what can you smell up there in the air? I think that they just grasp the sense of what's going on around them, perhaps the smells, the posture, the way that the mothers are walking, if they've eaten in the last few days or not, and then they just pretty much take it from there. You seem to be the most alert one. It's definitely raising its head and smelling something up in the air. So I wonder, maybe there are more lions around. I kind of want to see them go down the termite mound and then go all the way back up. Yeah, definitely smelling something. I don't know what it could be, because unfortunately my sense of smell is not that good. But there's another head sticking up. Yeah, they're almost expecting someone to come back, as we were discussing earlier. Now, let's see. I'm not sure if I can see anything else around here. Maybe... Oh, hello. Looking at us now. Beautiful boy. Was the other one there? Rex, Were there more Ngala that side? Okay. Alright. Shab. Thanks. Alright, so no, it doesn't seem like there were more lions around, so we've just got the youngsters here. I wonder where the females have gone off to. I think maybe they just carried on moving and looking for food. Maybe it's hard for them to look for food at this time, or in this particular atmospheric conditions. Huh. This is good. Oh no, sorry guys, I'm just been... I just wanna... Sorry guys, I'm just trying to listen to the radio. Just to try and figure out what's going on, because somebody called something in, but I can't figure out what it is that's been called in. Sorry Mike, can you just go again with the update that Rald gave? It sounded for a second, I don't know if they were talking. Okay, copy. Seems like we were right on our first call this morning. It seems like there is a leopard that's coming all the way from Little Gowrie heading north towards Twin Dam. So there are a few vehicles that are closer to that area, so we're gonna stick around with the lions and let these guys go and have a look. But I think had the gremlins not attacked us, then we would have been on the right track. Although I think things happen for a reason. Maybe if we had gone all the way down there, then we wouldn't have seen the Nkuhumas. So the guys are gonna keep us updated. And we'll find out what's going on. Now, what you guys looking at? I'm very puzzled. I'm gonna go a little bit further back and see if maybe we can see. Alright, I think maybe we're gonna stick around with them for a little while. And then we'll just let the guys update us in terms of what happens with that leopard. No idea on that leopard. But it's turning out to be quite a morning, even if it's been quite a rainy one. Hello, pretty lions. Sorry, Lou, I believe you had a question for me? Mike, you're wondering if the termites are still inside this mound. No, this seems to be an inactive termite mound, and the reason why I'm saying that is because it doesn't seem like it's quite eroded on the sides, especially where the lions are sleeping now, and also lots of grass coming out from the mound. Normally when termite mounds are active, because there's a lot of activity going on and a lot of them moving around, then it's hard. It's of a darker color, and there isn't as much vegetation growing from the mound from the mound itself, because often the termites will come out of their termite mounds during the night, and then they'll start chewing on vegetation to use it to then grow the fungus in their fungus garden, really down below the termite mound. So I don't think, and even if the mound was active, lions wouldn't really pose too much of a problem for them, other than destroying a little bit the top part of the termite mound, because they wouldn't really eat the termites. The termites are not that big, unless we're talking about the alates that come out once a year, those very big future kings and queens of all the colonies, and those ones they might be interested in perhaps feeding upon. But lions normally don't take interest in such creatures. It's more in the eagles and smaller mammals that eat the alates. Keep looking and gazing very intently in that direction. So I wonder if he's looking at something. Seems like Steph has decided that going in a car is not his style, so he has decided to go on a walkabout.